This game is never coming out. That's what I've told myself 1,000 times about games like GTA 6, the next Elder Scrolls, and of course the mythical beast itself, Half-Life 3, which probably exists in another dimension at this point. GTA 6 is the most anticipated game in the history of humanity. Its development has costed more than the biggest freaking building in human history. And just recently, they finally announced the oh so predictable delay. Like, come on, we all knew GTA 6 wasn't dropping this year. But still, deep down, we held onto that tiny little spark of hope that 2025 might end with something beautiful. Even though, let's be honest, we've already been eating good this year. Anyways, I would time skip directly to 2026. One whole year, 12 months, 365 days, 80,060 hours, 525,600 minutes, more than 31 million seconds. That's how long we'll have to wait to finally get our hands on the most massive audiovisual product in history. Well, only if you have a PS5 or an Xbox. And a spare $100, of course. Because, let's be real, Rockstar has never dropped a GTA on PC day one. Will this be the time they finally break the course? Or are we getting GTA 6 on PC in 2030? But this whole thing is stirring up more than just hype. We're talking about problems, drama, chaos, to the point where it's only starting to feel like GTA 6 might never actually come out. So let's talk about it. Cancellations, delays, and the ghost in Rockstar's closet. That one title they already axed years ago, Agent. Yeah, remember that? I don't think so. GTA 6 has been in development for over 7 years now. And like my grandpa used to say, just because it takes longer doesn't mean it's gonna be better. You know exactly where I'm going with this. That was a game that took 14 years to develop. I mean, I get it. There were probably some huge internal issues, technical nightmares, financial disasters, but seriously, 14 years? They really believe in it that much? I can only imagine what that fandom went through. There are probably people who died waiting for that game to come out. Literally. Now, going back to Rockstar, their last major release, Red Dead Redemption 2, took around 8 years from early concepts to full release. A pretty long time, yeah. But this time the story ended differently. A true masterpiece, the kind of game you just stand up and applaud. So, how long did GTA 5 take to make? The last entry in the saga. Around 4 to 5 years. In fact, let's take a look at the timeline between each main release in the GTA and Red Dead series over the past few years. You'll notice a very clear pattern. Look closely at how long they take between one game and the next. We're talking about development time basically doubling with every new release, and that brings us to the real issue. When a project gets this massive, the problem grows just as massive. And this isn't something exclusive to GTA or Rockstar. It's happening to a lot of big games out there, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But would Rockstar really be capable of canceling something as massive as GTA 6? Honestly, I don't think so. There's already a ton of marketing out there, and the game looks way too far along to just get axed. Unless something absolutely insane happens that forces them to shut it all down. Still that tiny bit of doubt? Yeah, it lingers, because it wouldn't be the first time Rockstar pulled the plug on a huge, ambitious project. Just like that one game called Agent. Yeah, I didn't know about it either, and it honestly blew my mind that even Rockstar could cancel a game. Back in the PS3 era, no less. Way back then, Rockstar announced a supposed exclusive title for the PlayStation 3. The idea? An ultra-ambitious project set in the world of espionage during the Cold War in the 1970s. After San Andreas, Rockstar really wanted to make something that wasn't GTA. They had already played around a few spy-style missions in San Andreas, and for this game, they were full of ideas. The game was to be set in the 70s, be more linear than GTA with a number of locations. There was a French Mediterranean city, a Swiss sky resort, a Cairo, and at the end, there will be a big shootout with lasers in space. Classic James Bond. The vibe was very cool. That came straight from Ove Bermage, former technical director at Rockstar North. Yup, one of the big guys behind the scenes. He confirmed all of this about Agent, the cancelled game. But after all that hype, silence. Total radio silence. Nothing ever came out of it, and honestly, a Rockstar quality spy game that could be so damn cool! Like Chef Kiss, yes please! But hey, This kind of sudden disappearance isn't new. In recent years, it's happened with tons of games, where devs go dark for months, even years without a single update. It's like that one person who just stops showing up to work, but never actually quits. But why is it that nowadays when a game gets cancelled, it's not just a piece of news, it becomes the news? And if it's a game that's been hyped for years, it's the community itself that starts spiraling, generating wild expectations, spreading rumors, and eventually declaring this game's never coming out. And honestly, that's a big part of the problem, at least for me. It's what happens when the industry grows too big, too fast. And don't get me started on social media, a boiling pot of opinions, drama, and people spewing pure hate, no matter if the game's actually good or not. You know how it is online. Everything's mid, everything is a scam, everything's the worst game ever. And you'd be surprised just how many games are stuck in this weird limbo of uncertainty. You don't get a proper update, just vague leaks like some creative director left the studio or they've just got the breakfast budget. Next thing you know, people are whispering, yeah, this game's probably dead. Look at Beyond Good and Evil 2, still technically in development, but like, is it really? Then there's Silksong, the eternal wait. At this point it's not a game, it's a religion. Some games do manage to escape development hell, like Dead Island 2 ended up being finished by another studio, and hey, it didn't turn out half bad. Others, absolute nightmares. Looking at you, Skull and Bones, that game being delayed more times than I've had birthdays. And then you've got titles like Hytale. Delayed a lot, sure, but at least they check in with the community from time to time, so we know it's alive. Probably. And finally, there are those games that get cancelled silently. No statement, no closure, just poof, gone. There's always that one game announced with a bang, look absolutely incredible, and then boom. One day, radio silence, no updates, no leaks, no nothing, just vanished. Like Project Titan, Blizzard's ambitious MMO, it was gonna be the next big thing. Until it wasn't. And you know how it goes. First delay, okay, understandable. Second leak, curious. Third delay, now we're raising eyebrows. Fourth time, the creative director quits. Alright, that's it, this game's never coming out. And you're probably right. But why does this happen? Why do leaks keep happening? Why can't they stick to date and end up launching the game 5 years later? Or worse, just scrap it entirely, throwing away millions of dollars and thousands of work hours? Well, the truth is, making video games, especially these giant blockbuster ones, is hard. We're not talking about 4 dudes in a basement making little indie games while juggling college. Nah, this is the big leagues. Huge team, multiple satellite studios scattered around the globe, millions in budget. And in this age of viral everything, even a small slip-up can end up everywhere online within minutes. Leaks are almost inevitable, deadlines a nightmare, and coordinating hundreds of people across the time zones, yeah sure, let's just delay it 6 more months. GTA 5 had just launched, and GTA Online was completely broken for the first few weeks. And yeah, there were some people complaining, but actually nobody cared. Everyone was too busy enjoying the story mode, or using cheat codes to cause absolute chaos and get as many wanted stars as humanly possible. At least that was GTA before the online mode. Sometimes life really is that simple. But did you hear that right? 2013. 12 years ago. It's insane. Some phones still had physical keyboard. Look at the price of Bitcoin back then. Why I didn't bought Bitcoin on that time. And somehow Rockstar has been milking the same game for over a decade thanks to online and those lovely shark cards. What's also wild is how different GTA 5 looked on the PS3 and Xbox 360 compared to today. The game changed more than a goddamn transformer through the years. And let's be honest, it's not the same GTA 5 anymore. 2025 and bro still logging into GTA Online. Now let's do a quick mental exercise. Close your eyes and try to remember, what were you doing in 2013? Sure, social media existed back then, but it was like the medieval version of what we have today. Yeah, there was some toxicity, sure, but not the apocalyptic snowballs we see now. If a game got delayed, you might see a rumor on some forum like, "My cousin works at Ubisoft and says it got cancelled." That was it, just 4 bored dudes talking on some sketchy website with a black background and glowing green text. Nowadays, one outlet drops a rumor, and 5 minutes later, there are 20 YouTube videos, 300 TikToks, and 800x posts analyzing the secret proof that the game was cancelled, sold, burned, and replaced by an AI remaster with Fortnite skins. And yeah, this actually affects both players and developers, because now public perception is part of the product. This didn't happen before. If a game took too long, you just forgot about it and played something else. Now, you wait anxiously, and after 2 years you're already making videos titled, GTA 6 is never coming out. Haha, back then we didn't even keep track of this stuff. We just walk happily and innocently into the store, see a game with a cool cover, buy it, play it, boom, done. We didn't stress about waiting another year or whether the trailer got leaked or if our favorite art director just got fired. Like I always say, life is simpler than it seems. At most, I remember something like Scalebound, that Xbox Dragon game. It got officially cancelled, sure, and we moved on. But nowadays, we've got games like Silksong, which was officially announced during an Xbox conference, with the promise that it would release within the next year. And then, radio silence. Same story with Hytale. It went completely quiet for years until just recently we found out that they are rebuilding the engine from scratch? That's a huge red flag. Back to the present, 2025 has been a weird year. A lot of studios have straight up cancelled their upcoming releases, and honestly, it makes sense. The moment GTA 6 drops, it's going to overshadow any other release for at least 3 months, probably even longer. These cancellations and delays usually happen for very specific reasons. Games are getting bigger, more complex, and way more expensive to make, like I told you 100 times on my last video. And when projects are that huge, every tiny decision can snowball and affect the entire production. If things aren't handled almost perfectly, it leads to delays due to lack of content, mid-development layoffs, entire system directors leaving the company. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. In recent years, there has been some seriously shady situations going on inside certain studios. Any one of these issues spark huge backlash from the community. From the usual "this game is never coming out" type of reaction to the much more serious concern. People who work years on a game end up losing their jobs, and due to NDAs, they can even list it as experience on their resumes because the company wanted to keep the project completely secret. Even if the game doesn't get cancelled, the wait fatigue starts setting in, which ends up hurting the hype for the game anyway. If that doesn't happen, we get toxic fan bases who hate the game just because it got delayed. They go in already convinced it's doomed. Think about how big budget games used to be. Development rarely went beyond 3 years, and that actually limited the amount of the problems that could pop up. Like leaks, for example, which have probably been a huge reason why GTA 6 was announced so far in advance of its actual release. It all really started on September 18th, 2022, when a hacker managed to steal over 90 minutes of early development footage from GTA 6. There was speculation, of course, but not long after, Rockstar themselves confirmed these leaks were real. Then in December 2023, more early gameplay footage started circulating online, and then out of nowhere on TikTok, a supposed map of GTA 6 appears. People were skeptical until it was confirmed to be real, because it was posted by the nephew or son of one of the directors. I mean, if I were Rockstar, I locked that kid up for life. He's gonna have one wild story to tell his friends though. But at last, the moment arrived. Rockstar officially confirms GTA 6, and they did it with a trailer announcement with a very specific time and date for the release. However, about 10 hours before the official launch, an X account somehow managed to leak the entire trailer. Seriously, Rockstar, how do you let someone steal the trailer? Immediately, Rockstar puts the trailer live without any warning, and the rest, as they say, is history. We were supposed to enjoy the game this year until, well, at least it wasn't a yellow background message. But it makes you wonder, did all the previous leaks force Rockstar to prepare a trailer earlier than planned? Did they know from the very very beginning that the game was nowhere near ready for 2025? These are questions that for now we just don't know the answers to. Maybe not even in the next few years, but someday some ex-employee will talk, will finally learn the real truth. At the very least, the launch of the second trailer was unexpected and left everyone speechless, clearly confirming that the most anticipated game of the decade won't be arriving until 2026. Please, Rockstar, for everyone's mental health, try not to delay it any further. I don't think we can survive another year. But I'm starting to think that waiting this long for a video game is actually harmful, to the point where it becomes toxic for the community, and that toxicity inevitably turns toward the studio itself, creating a snowball effect that can cause serious internal issues, leading to many of the problems we've already talked about. And that got me thinking, what responsibility do companies really have when it comes to announcing and releasing their games? Because when you announce something way too early, you create expectations that might be impossible to live up to. Just look at Star Citizen, a game that costs an absurd amount of money, has been in development for what feels like forever, and it still doesn't even have an official release date, only playtests and in-game purchases. Should studios start taking more responsibility and announce games only when they're actually closer to the release? Or is it just inevitable with highly anticipated titles that the community will build hype no matter what, and these giant expectation snowballs are just part of the deal now? Maybe GTA 6 really will come out, but how many other games will die along the way without anyone ever noticing? Anyways, what are these shots, Rockstar?